Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, May 29th, on a very dreary day here in New York, and it seems to be a very dreary day for Major League Baseball. That's what today's episode is going to be entirely about, is the Major League Baseball season and how it is becoming more increasingly unlikely that a season will occur. It's not looking good. I'm going to share some points, going to give some opinions today. Please, if you have thoughts, opinions of your own, leave them down below. Love to hear from everybody. After the couple of days negotiation, this is more or less what the players want. They want their prorated salaries as they agreed upon earlier in the year. So more or less they would get paid based on how many games. So if they played half the season, they get half their salary. And they want a season longer than 82 games so they can make more money. Now, Major League Baseball has set the number of games based upon where they are in the season, and they don't want to push playoffs and the season and eventually the postseason back, which makes sense because if you think about it, you get teams that are in the Northeast or in areas that get cold, get snow during the end of November, even into December, could potentially put the World Series, suspend some games because of snow and that kind of stuff, and then who knows, might be playing the playoffs in January. And then there were comments made by Max Scherzer. I'm going to put him up right now, but he more or less says that there is absolutely no reason to engage with Major League Baseball. Hey guys, after discussing the latest developments with the rest of the players, there's no reason to engage with MLB in any further compensation reductions. We have previously negotiated a pay cut in the version of prorated salaries. There's no justification to accept a second pay cut based upon the current information the union had received. Then Michael Kay, who is the Yankees broadcaster, also has a radio show on ESPN, gave this rant. So Michael Kay sounded off very loudly on his show. You have not taken a pay cut because you haven't worked. You don't deserve to get paid because you haven't worked. A quote, people who don't work don't get paid. That's why unemployment is through the roof right now, okay? He says, owners aren't locking you out of viruses. The same virus that, now I'm paraphrasing, I don't want you to take this as quote, but 100,000 people are dying because of a virus, and that's why the season's suspended, not because the owners are cheap. This has garnered a lot of attraction because Michael Kay has been not picking a side here, but he more or less says that the players don't deserve to get paid because they haven't. He doesn't want it to get misconstrued that they're doing the Major League Baseball a favor by taking a pay cut. No, it's not a pay cut. You haven't worked, so your salary is for when you play. So he sounds off on Max Scherzer's comment saying that they took a pay cut by saying, no, you didn't take a pay cut. And this is actually garnering a lot of traction because if you think about it, the owners aren't. The reason the season isn't going on isn't because owners are cheap. It's because a virus is locking out the season, most of the revenue, and the players can't work. If players can't work, that's unfortunate, but you don't deserve to get paid because you can't work. It's not like it would be different if Major League Baseball, if the owners were bringing in all this income and the players aren't getting any of it. There's no income coming in. They're losing money. They have to pay rent for their stadium unless they own the land. They have to pay to keep the building up and running because you think about it, baseball stadiums are offices for a lot of people too. They have to pay for the electricity. They are spending more money trying to keep their buildings afloat as opposed to bringing in revenue. And teams would be forced to go bankrupt if the proposed salary, apparently, this is what I've heard, I don't know the truth of this, but it's more or less so that teams would be able to survive this season until they can get their full revenue and their full intake get their whole cash flow back up and running. But without it, there's a chance small market teams especially could go bankrupt because you're not bringing anybody to the stands, you're not selling any concessions, you're not selling merchandise, and you have to pay to operate a Major League Baseball stadium, which is not cheap. It is ridiculously expensive to operate a Major League Baseball stadium. More so, this is just, what I'm gonna do is at this point I'm just going to read read just kind of the notes that I have for today's episode, and then I'll probably go on a significantly long rant for the rest of this video. So please just bear with me for the time being. An anonymous player was texting with John Heyman, who's a CBS insider, and he is a very, very intelligent, as the article has put it, said that as of now, the chances of a season are close to zero. Scott Boras is probably one of the biggest Major League Baseball agents. He's very good at getting his players a lot of money, a lot of the high end, especially in today's offseason, of this past year's offseason. His clients were Garrett Cole, Steven Strasburg, Anthony Rendon, and he got them upwards of $1 billion in salary. Might I add, though, people are starting... I wouldn't use Scott Boras' opinion to formulate your own idea, because as an agent, he gets a commission of the player's salary. So if the player's salary dropped, in theory, he would be losing part of his commission as well. So he wants more money for his players so he himself can take in more money. So I wouldn't really take Scott Boras. Scott Boras, I'm not personally a fan of. I think he's slimy. I think he's a rat, but I think he's too slick. I think he pulls a lot of back alley deals, in my opinion. I don't really like the guy. Never met him. Never had a conversation with him, but just based on what I've heard. He advises players not to agree to salary cuts, and he more or less says, remember, games can't be played without you. And on a little bit of a lighter note, David Price will give each minor league player in the Dodgers system, not on their 40-man roster, $1,000 for the month of June, out of his own personal finances. And he's doing this as a Dodger without throwing a single pitch or being on a single in-game roster for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was traded in the offseason, has not played one game for the Dodgers, but is out giving each minor league player $1,000, which, kudos to him. That's respectful. Guy's made a lot of money in his major league career. He's still going to make a good amount of money, but he's helping out the people that need it most. As we discussed in the last video, how minor league players more or less are surviving on the poverty line without worrying about pay cuts, or in a full season they are living more or less on the poverty line. All right, now enough of the notes. Better get your popcorn, get some drinks, because this is gonna get very, very opinionated, very loud. So if you are somebody who just wants the facts, doesn't want 10-ish minutes, 15 minutes of me ranting and giving my own opinion, highly suggest that you click off the video, because I'm not sure if you're gonna like it. But here we go. As a fan, I want baseball. I don't care how it happens. I want baseball. As a baseball player, I want to play baseball. I love to do it. I love making a job out of it. As somebody who knows maybe a little bit more about baseball, or I wouldn't even say that, somebody who is a lot more passionate about the little nuances of Major League Baseball, everything from their economics to minor league rosters to rules, a little bit more into it than the average fan. I think the players are being a little bit greedy. Millions of Americans are out of work. Millions of Americans are out of work and not getting paid. You guys are out of work and demanding to get paid. That's not okay. If the average American, who, regardless if they like baseball, heard some of the things right now, they would be furious. They would be absolutely furious, because they're arguing over if they're making $7 million or $30 million. These people aren't making a damn thing. So the fact that this is bothering the average American who's out of a job, who's not working right now. You know, I have a summer job. Not sure if I'm going to be making that summer job. I might be having no income. Granted, I don't have a lot of expenses like these players. Well, if you're worried about, sell your $30 million house. Sell your $30 million house, move into something more affordable. Maybe move into an apartment. Rent's $500 a month. Move in somewhere there. Instead of your $30 million mansion. in Tampa or wherever the hell you live. Seeing how the gap between Major League Baseball and the players just keeps growing. And at this rate, it's not going to become close anytime soon. I don't see it. So I agree with what one of those anonymous player was saying, how the chances of a season are very close to zero because the players are so hard-headed. And granted, I'm not trying to strictly fault the players. The owners have to some sort of agreement, but at the end of the day, if they can't, would you rather them not be able to afford your contract for 1 year or for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years if they go bankrupt? And that way you're out of not only Garrett Cole, I'll use him for example, signed a $324 million deal with the New York Yankees. Would you rather be out of that $30 million for 1 year or for your entire contract for 7 years if the team goes bankrupt? Now, granted, the Yankees are probably one of the most lucrative sports teams in professional sports, but hypothetically, what if you're the Chicago Cubs, paying $175 million for John Lester, paying these big contracts, not huge, but they have enough substantially large contracts that if they go bankrupt, they're not going to be able to pay these players for years to come. Take the pay cut this year so you can get your salary. You can get the rest of your salary. If they took the pay cut now, I am almost positive that at some point they will get the full value of their contract. Or that will be a discussion at a later date if they take a pay cut. Take the pay cut and then worry about getting the rest of your money once teams start bringing in more revenue. It just bothers me that I don't see the players having any interest in meeting them halfway in the middle. Maybe this is just me being somebody who, I don't know. It just seems like they don't even know what the hell's going on out in the world. That they don't even realize that we're in a financial crisis. We are in a health crisis, especially. That's probably number one. Then we're in a financial crisis. You're saying, well, teams make millions of dollars. You're losing money, so are they. And they're probably losing money at a much more substantial clip. Now, granted, they have a lot more that they can fall back on, but who knows when this goes? People are talking about a second wave hitting in the fall. If a second wave hits in the fall and it just keeps coming, next season might be postponed. So, this situation isn't going to get better the more it waits. The more this gets dragged on, the chances of a season happening decrease. Every minute I'm sitting here talking to you, and no progress is being made between the union and the owners, the chances of a season are significantly dropping. And that doesn't mean this season, potentially next season as well. It is looking like there will be a strike this year, like the 1994 strike. I think there was a strike in 1980 or 80. This season will either end with a strike, or just and players holding out. I think that's how this year is going to end. There's not going to be baseball, and that's going to be very disappointing, especially for players that had 1-year deals. And like I said last week, this hurts minor leaguers too, especially because it doesn't look like they're going to have a season. If Major League Baseball had a season and rosters expanded, it would mean that more minor league players could have a chance to at least get some reps in. Now, with no season, players are only going to deteriorate, because what can you do in your house? Well, granted, these guys have state-of-the-art gyms. These probably have bullpens, but what are you going to do? California's on lockdown for 3 more months, at least. That'll probably take them right into that second wave when that second wave is going to hit. It doesn't look like there will be a season this year, and that is very, very disappointing, because that's something that we all want. That's something that we all really, really think, every sports fan. And I think what makes it worse to baseball fans is seeing how the NHL, they have a plan, and now they just have to figure out how they're going to execute it. The NBA, someone has a plan, has a pretty good idea of how they're going to execute it. Now it's just fine-tuning. The NFL, kind of sitting back and watching how it goes, because it's not really affecting them as of right now. But over my shoulder right there, those guys, they are not looking good. That's not looking good. I hope that they're going to come to an agreement, but based on what I've heard, based on what Max Scherzer, Scott Boras, players are saying, they don't want to meet Major League Baseball in the middle. They want Major League Baseball to surrender before the players will. And that's not going to happen. Major League Baseball is not going to give in, say, oh, we'll play 100 game schedule for the rest of the year and we'll give you your full salaries. No, that's not going to happen. That's what the players want. Major League Baseball is not going to give it to them. And until the players start to move and start to try to meet Major League Baseball in the middle, nothing's going to happen. You can't say that an agreement you made at the very beginning of this problem, and you can't just, there's no way to stick with that proposed solution, because this thing changes every day. Every day something new is coming out. First, you can get it by touching objects. Now you can't. Now aerosols, the masks don't do anything. Masks are now great. They're lowering the curve. How can you say when this whole thing happens and sports get completely shut down that the solution you made then is the best one and the one that's going to work now? It won't. It's not going to, because this dragged on longer than they thought. Everybody thought Major League Baseball would probably be out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe a month. It's a lot longer than that, clearly. We're 2 months into the season at this point that was postponed. So that proposed solution that was more or less for a 4 week safe plan, a 4 week safety net. That's not working 2 months into this. It's not going to work. And until these players get off a pedestal saying that they're above everybody else and that they should have the final say, until they come off that pedestal, nothing's going to happen. And it's unfortunate, because I thought this was going to be a really, really good year, especially for my New York Yankees. A lot of teams got better, but the Dodgers probably were up there as World Series favorites. The Braves, the Dodgers brought in Mookie Betts, probably one of a top 10 player in the league. He's only there for this year. He'll be a free agent. Who knows if they'll be able to bring him back? Definitely not at the price that he was here now. He's going to be a lot more expensive. It's just making me mad thinking about how this is what the season has come to. I could have done a lot more deep diving in on these notes and that kind of stuff and facts, but I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. I've given my opinion on things, but I want it all on the table. I want to know exactly where I stand. Do I think the players are all in the right? Absolutely not. Clearly, based on what you heard, do I think the owners are necessarily perfectly in the right? No. I don't think they are either. But I see the owners being willing to maneuver a little bit more than the players are. Players look very hard-headed right now. And they should probably get somebody who seems a little bit more educated than Blake Snell arguing on their behalf. I think it's just upsetting. It's just upsetting that baseball is coming down to money. At the end of the day, everybody's for sale. I think that's becoming very evident now. It's not fun sitting here watching the baseball season crumble around me. It's not fun watching all these other sports, all these other fans getting excited because these other sports are starting to get built up. We're going to come back, and Major League Baseball is stepping backwards, not going forwards. It's not fun to watch, and it just makes me mad. It really makes me mad thinking about how I'm not saying this could have been avoided, because it can. It's completely out of control, but I think it's just upsetting that it's all because of money. Nobody cares about the fans. Nobody cares about... to me, it doesn't look like they care about us, because I hate to say it, but they're in the entertainment business. Their job is to entertain fans by playing a game. That's entertainment. So granted, they're supposed to look out for their families and the safety of their families. If you're worried about your safety and about health, don't play. Don't play. But if you want to play, don't use the money as your motivation. Use the fans. I think if that was If you said you want to do it in the safest way possible for you, but if they played an angle where they were saying the only ones, not only are the players losing here, but fans are losing here too, because the farther they are from a deal, the less the less Major League Baseball is willing to move, the more the fans have to pay. If they played that angle, they would have a lot more support. But they're playing the money angle, and personally, no support there. Like I said before, everybody's out for sale, and it's just showing right now that Major League Baseball players are out for sale, and they are more concerned about their millions than they are about the average person, the average fan. And I don't know where you agree on that. I mean, I don't necessarily think that they should be going homeless, but they're not going homeless for 1 year playing for the fans. But that's where I'm at. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you again on Monday. If you enjoyed, hit the like button. Leave any questions you have down below. I'll if anybody has any, I'll answer them over the course of the next couple of episodes. I've kind of stockpiled a few right now that I'll probably answer in a video next week. But hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys later.